Crawford's about to fight.
Yes, he's going to fight Canelo.
Oh, man.
I just hope he's big enough. I hope he's big enough to keep that dude off him, because Canelo hits so hard, man.
That's one dude that, like, I believe all the shit he be talking.
Crawford?
Yeah.
Oh, he's good.
He don't just be saying shit.
They tried to say that, like, Errol Spence was damaged because of what Crawford did to him, because he was damaged from the car accident. I'm like, maybe. Or maybe Crawford would have done that 3 years ago. I think he's that good. He's just so skillful. He's so slick. And when he gets, and he's also the best guy in the sport at switch hitting. He'll go from southpaw to orthodox and be just as good and trip you up. Like, you think he's going to start southpaw, he starts orthodox. You prepare for orthodox, he's fighting southpaw. He feels like he's got you timed better orthodox, he'll switch.
Canelo Alvarez is leaving no stone unturned as he prepares for his showdown with Terence Crawford. His training camp has been more demanding than ever, filled with grueling sparring sessions, sharpened defensive work, and relentless focus on the explosive power that has ended so many fights. The energy around him is undeniable. Canelo understands this isn't just another title defense. This is a fight that could shape his legacy, and is preparing like a champion who refuses to be overshadowed.
That fight would be gigantic.
I'm trying to make all-time history.
Right. That's the one that gets you going. I can see it in your eyes.
Yeah. I hear him now. You too little. Canelo gonna break you.
Yeah.
I love the challenges. Let me prove him wrong once again.
Building on Canelo's intense preparation for Terence Crawford, Joe Rogan pointed out just how punishing and distinctive that training really is. He opened the discussion by questioning whether Crawford truly has the tools to overcome Canelo Alvarez. Rogan acknowledged that Crawford has a shot, but only if he executes a perfectly disciplined and tactical game plan. His guest, Jim Lampley, added perspective by referencing a classic line from legendary commentator Larry Merchant about Ray Leonard's victory over Marvin Hagler. Leonard used movement, speed, and strategy to pull off the upset, and Lampley suggested that Crawford might need a similar blueprint if he hopes to topple Canelo.
Yes.
Do you think Terence Crawford can beat Canelo Alvarez?
Yeah, I think he can win.
Okay.
I don't know if he's going to win, but I think he can win.
So
but he's going to have to box a brilliant fight.
Okay, what kind of a fight? I'm going to get to that. I asked the great Larry Merchant, 94 years old, living on Ocean Boulevard in Santa Monica, looking out at the ocean, reflecting on all the amazing things he did. And I asked Larry, I said, do you think Terence Crawford has a chance to beat Canelo Alvarez? And Larry said, Jim, did Ray Leonard get an official decision victory over Marvelous Marvin Hagler? And I said, yes, he did. He said, well, if Ray Leonard could beat Marvelous Marvin Hagler, then Terence Crawford can beat Canelo Alvarez. And I said, why do you say that? He said, same equation. Get in, get out. Get in, get out.
Yeah.
Over.
Rogan then broke down what makes Canelo such a nightmare for his opponents. Instead of focusing only on the head or body like most fighters, Canelo systematically targets the arms, breaking down a fighter's defense until the guard eventually collapses. Joe pointed out that this approach is rare in modern boxing, and it's one of the key reasons Canelo is so difficult to deal with inside the ring.
Yeah. Canelo has such unique skills, and one of the weird things that he does that very few people since Rocky Marciano does is he punches your arms.
Yes.
He brutalizes your arms.
He's another brilliant guy. He has the greatest punch resistance in the sport. You know, we talked about it earlier. One knockout in the whole career.
Knockdown.
And it wasn't a knockdown. And it wasn't really a knockdown in my personal view. So
Jim also highlighted another aspect of Canelo's toughness, his incredible lower body strength. He explained that Canelo has rarely ever been knocked down, not just because of his chin, but because his powerful legs keep him stable and able to absorb shots that would floor most fighters. Jim then shared a personal story from when he lived near Canelo in Del Mar, California. He'd often see Canelo's trainer, Cheapo, in the grocery store filling up carts with lean proteins like chicken and tuna to fuel the champ's camp. But what really stunned Joe was Canelo's unique morning routine, horseback riding. Every day, Canelo would spend 2.5 hours at an equestrian center practicing hunter-jumper drills, guiding horses over obstacles that demand balance, coordination, and serious leg strength. Then in the afternoons, he'd dive into 3.5 hours of intense boxing training. Jim noted that this combination, riding for the legs and boxing for the upper body, was nothing short of genius.
Touch the canvas. He's never been on the canvas, and we call it chin. And I think that we kind of missed the point by calling it chin. Because I used to be Canelo's neighbor in Del Mar, California. Used to run into Chepo, his senior trainer, at the grocery store. I'd look into the cart and say, "Oh, he's eating tuna." And he said, "Yes, and he's eating chicken, da-da-da." And so I also used to go down the hill from my house off of Via della Valle in Del Mar and watch him train at the equestrian center, where he would go to the equestrian center in the morning and do 2.5 hours of hunter-jumper riding before going to his gym in the afternoon.
Jim emphasized that horseback riding wasn't just a hobby for Canelo. It was a calculated part of his training regimen. Joe agreed, noting that Canelo's ability to stay on his feet doesn't just come from having a strong chin, but from the rock-solid foundation built through his legs and core. Years of riding have developed the balance and strength that make him so difficult to knock off his base inside the ring.
To do 3.5 hours of boxing training.
Hunter-jumper riding? What is that?
Hunter-jumper is where you go over jumps and you...
With a horse?
Yeah, on the horse, yeah.
Why the fuck would you do that when you're training for a fight? What if the horse falls?
He was riding horses since he was a little kid. He was skilled enough to do it. You controlled the height of the jumps. You say set the jumps at 36 inches or 40 inches. You know what the horse can do. It's all about staying on the horse. And I asked him, how can you do that? And he said, everything I do in boxing is upper body, and everything I do on the horse is lower body. And on that basis, I am the one who theorizes that the reason you can't knock him down is not because of his chin, it's because of his legs.
His base.
You can't.
But not everyone sees it the same way. Amir Khan offered a perspective that's rare, since he's one of the few fighters who has actually shared the ring with both men. While he didn't give away every detail, it was clear he was reflecting on the contrast in their styles, from the difference in size to the way each fighter handles pressure under the spotlight.
Canelo, you've been in the ring with both of them fighters.
I think I might be the only guys that's.
I can't think of anyone else that has, obviously, because there's a big weight disparity between the two. So
I think I'm the only guy that's been in with both fighters. So I'm thinking of maybe going there. I've been asked to go there and obviously give my input on the fight before they go in the ring. And obviously I know both fighters. Canelo's a friend now after our fight we had, and also Crawford had shared training camp with him as well. It's a good fight. But I'm not going to say too much.
Okay.
I'm going to save it.
Khan hinted at Crawford's skill on the outside, the way he can stay sharp, make subtle adjustments, and conserve energy while controlling distance. But he also implied that this could be the fight where Crawford faces challenges unlike anything he's dealt with before. The way Khan put it left a sense of suspense, almost as if he himself is eager to see how Crawford reacts once Canelo applies relentless pressure.
Look, Crawford's going to probably do the same thing that he knows best, which is box, be smart, slow movements, small steps. So only small steps is taken. So if he, look, and it's always worked for him. Every fight he's been in. We thought that the fight with Spence was going to be hard, and he made it look so easy. Now, we've never really seen him in a hard fight where we've seen him in trouble. So maybe this could be the fight that puts him in that trouble to see what he's going to be like when he's under pressure. You know what I mean? We've never seen either fighter under pressure like a lot.
Khan also pointed out something Crawford doesn't always get enough recognition for: his physical strength. He recalled times when Crawford's size at higher weights caught even his own team by surprise. It was a reminder that Crawford isn't just slick and technical, he's sturdier and more durable than people often think. By choosing his words carefully, Khan hinted that Canelo's size edge isn't the only factor shaping this matchup.
Canelo has a size advantage, but then again, I've always said Crawford puts on the weight well. If you look at size of him, you see his picture when he was like 185.
Yeah.
He looks huge, bro. He looked jacked up and he looks strong at the weight as well. I remember when I used to spar with him, and I think, wow, he's heavy and he's heavy-handed as well.
People don't give as well, yeah.
Yeah, you know, people don't give him the credit for his power. Crawford bangs hard, man. I mean, and also has that muscle strength. I saw him in the gym when I was training with them, wrestling heavyweights and taking them down. Wrestling. So I don't know if you know this, but Crawford is, I think he was like one of the top national wrestlers.
He was a good race, yeah. I think he wrestled when he was younger, and he was very...
Then came the big question lingering over the matchup. Who's the fresher fighter? Khan leaned in Crawford's direction, noting that Canelo has endured more wars in the ring and carried his body through bigger weight jumps across his career. He didn't frame it as a bold prediction, but more as an observation, one that leaves fans wondering if Canelo still has the same fire, or if Crawford's moment has arrived at just the right time.
Crawford, in my opinion, has more attributes, like more advantages in this fight, because being the guy that's not taking much punishment and not many hard fights, going up and down weight categories. See, one thing about Crawford, he's built himself up slowly, whereas Canelo's jumped up and down weights, and he's always been a heavy guy, and he's probably taking bigger punches from the heavier weights and stuff like Bivol and, you know, I mean, Triple G, and those fights take a lot out of you. So I just feel, looking at it, the fresher fighter in that fight is Crawford. I think he's the fresher guy, is going to probably edge.
Another perspective came from Devin Haney, who stripped away the talk about size and looked at the matchup from a skills-first angle. Haney explained that this isn't just a fight people are curious about. It's a fight that makes sense because of the styles and abilities each man brings. He highlighted Crawford's discipline and high ring IQ as qualities that could carry him through, while also reminding everyone that Canelo's size and raw strength remain major factors. The way Haney put it, this isn't a mismatch at all, but rather a collision of two very different strengths.
But people are just talking about the size, right? That's why it's going to be too tough. But when you look at those two guys in stature, right, they don't look that difference in size. And Canelo is a small guy for 168.
Yeah.
But has longer arms. How's that matchup look to you?
I think it's a good matchup. It's a fight that we all been wanting to see. Bud has the skills. He got the discipline, IQ to win. But Canelo has all that with the size. So I think it's a good fight.
What stood out even more was Haney revealing that this matchup had been on Crawford's radar for years. He recalled how his father once told Crawford that Canelo was a fight to pursue, back when it seemed unlikely. Now that it's a reality, Haney expressed excitement, not just for Bud, but for what it means for boxing as a whole. And when it came to choosing sides, Haney didn't hesitate. He backed Crawford, just like his father had, though he admitted it won't be an easy fight. Haney left it there, confident in Bud, while still keeping the suspense alive about how the battle will unfold inside the ring.
I'm happy that Bud got the fight. My dad was the one that told him that he should take the fight. Bud came out and said that my dad was the one that told him to fight Canelo a long time ago.
Really?
So yeah.
Like in a private conversation,
he just recommended he told him, like, man, the fight for you is Canelo. And
really?
and Bud looked at my dad like but
now it's here.
Yeah, no, it's here now. So I think it's a good fight for boxing.
Is your dad picking Bud to win that fight?
Of course, yeah.
After Haney's breakdown, the focus shifted to Teddy Atlas, whose words carry the authority of someone who spent a lifetime in the sport. Atlas didn't bother with debates about records or statistics. In his eyes, resumes don't throw punches. What matters is how fighters use their tools when the bell rings. And when he assessed Crawford, Atlas saw a fighter who still checks every box on the eye test in all the ways that matter.
Listen, Terence Crawford is 37 years old now going into this fight. He's the older man. We know he's the smaller man. He's jumping up all the way to 168. And some are picking holes in his resume. What would you say to those naysayers?
I would say I love Crawford. I would say he passes the eye test. Yeah, I would say the resume is the resume. He passes the eye test. Everyone he's been in there, he's won convinced.
Atlas acknowledged that on paper, Canelo holds a stronger resume, but he argued that it doesn't tell the whole story. He noted that Crawford, even at 37, hasn't endured the kind of brutal wars that take a toll on a fighter's body. Atlas compared him to a classic car, older in years, but carefully maintained with low mileage. That's why he wasn't worried about Crawford's age becoming a factor in the ring. If anything, Atlas hinted that the bigger question mark might be Canelo, who has taken far more rounds and absorbed heavier punishment throughout his career.
I know he's 37 years old, but he's not a used up. I used the analogy earlier of a car. You know, this ain't a car with a lot of miles on the odometer, buddy. You know, but it's not. I know he's 37 years old, but this is like going and looking at one of those vintage classic cars, you know, and you look at it and you say, oh, I love that car, man, but it must have I don't know, and the motor must be getting old, this must be getting old, and then the guy says, no. It hasn't been on the road that many times. I've kept it in good condition in the garage. I've never taken it on a lot of tough drives. You know, I've never gone crazy and started driving in, you know, into terrain that would wear it out. And then you say, oh, okay, even though it's an old car, it's a fresh old car. You know, it's not used up. And that's how I look at Crawford, really. To those same kind of...
Of course, there are those who continue to put their faith in Canelo, and Oscar de la Hoya is at the front of that line. For him, this isn't just another big-name fight. It's one that clearly tilts in Canelo's favor. De la Hoya stressed that Crawford isn't moving up just one division, but two, a massive leap when the opponent is someone as naturally strong and battle-tested as Canelo. He reminded fans that at the elite level, size truly matters, and Canelo has built a career punishing fighters who couldn't withstand his physicality. In De La Hoya's view, the gap between them is simply too wide for Crawford to close. While he acknowledged Crawford's skill, he argued that nothing Crawford has faced compares to the challenge of stepping in against a man who has dominated multiple weight classes and gone toe-to-toe with light heavyweights. That's why De La Hoya believes this could be more than just another loss on Crawford's record. It could be the kind of fight where Canelo's power overwhelms him before he ever has a chance to adjust.
Now, what the media is reporting, and it's circulating, is that Canelo Crawford is the biggest fight of the decade. I mean, to a purist and a fighter, it's laughable. Because you have Crawford jumping up 2 weight classes to fight Canelo, who's a natural light heavyweight. Crawford, who couldn't push back Madrimov. Life and death with Madrimov. What do you think Canelo's going to do to him? Run him out of the ring!
In the end, it all comes down to whether Terence Crawford's speed and accuracy can offset Canelo Alvarez's size and power. Each man brings something different. Crawford with his slick technique and sharp ring IQ, and Canelo with his experience and raw strength. It's the kind of matchup that keeps fans on edge, because a single mistake could change everything. No matter which side you're on, this showdown is already one of the most anticipated in recent memory. So tell us, who do you think takes it, Canelo or Crawford? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.